Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited to be sharing a decision that I made with you guys as far as middle school curriculum goes. We are starting it right now in the middle of our school year, and we are going to be using it for our middle schoolers moving forward. It's very personal to me, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. If you guys are interested and you have middle schoolers, then stick around. So you guys know that I do not take my curriculum decisions lightly. I weigh my options very carefully. I do a lot of research before I make decisions, and that is the reason that I stick to almost the same curriculum year after year after year. For many curriculum choices that I made, we've stuck with those curriculum choices for 10 years. And so I'm just really careful and selective with what I choose for my homeschool. I don't want to be following all the trends. I don't want to just be like going through the cycle of the next new thing, the bright and shiny curriculum. And then on top of those decisions that I'm making for my own home, I share very selectively here online because I know that you guys trust my word and I want to maintain integrity here in this space. And so that being said, I have a really exciting curriculum to share with you guys that means a lot to me because this was put together by a very close friend of mine who has been teaching my daughter this year. And you guys have asked me a lot of questions regarding literature and the middle school literature, exciting things we've been doing this year. And I keep saying, I'll share soon or I'll share more soon because I had a feeling that this friend of mine would be putting together something amazing for the homeschooling community soon enough, and she has, and it is actually being released right now with a sampler for the end of this school year, and then it will be a full-fledged curriculum program starting in the fall. So like I said, you guys know that when I made curriculum choices years ago, I've pretty much stuck to the same things. That's why a lot of the curriculum that we use is old school, still within textbooks, you know, still using the same books that I purchased years and years ago, and I'm cycling through those as with my elementary kids as each one comes along at the right age. And so now that my older one is in middle school and I have a second approaching middle school, I've had to kind of go back to the basics again as far as doing that from the ground up research, just checking into different options and deciding what I'm going to use because I want to use the same things from here on out. Literature specifically is a subject that means a lot to me. I had a really great experience with literature when I was in middle and high school. I had teachers who introduced it very well and in a very exciting way. It's a part of who I am as a person. I think a lot of great discussion and thoughts and critical thinking came from not only the books and the selections that were presented to me in middle and high school, but also specifically in the way that my teachers taught it to me. And so with that in mind, I was very concerned about how I would choose to approach the subject for my older kids, keeping it exciting and fun and not approaching it in a dry textbook type of way. That is why it's so exciting to me that this year when I started the Charlotte Mason Co-op, I had a girlfriend who I've known for over 10 years come along and join our co-op and teach literature to our middle school group. She has 20 years of experience. She just recently received her doctorate in curriculum and instruction. And not only is she a homeschooling mom, but she also actively teaches online and virtual school. So she's an amazing person. She's a Christian homeschooling mom. She presents literature in such a beautiful and exciting way for our middle schoolers. I've seen Bella connect and just completely come alive through Mindy's teaching style and just the way that she presents things. I've seen layers to Bella's, just the way she thinks and the way she's able to critically think about things and present information that I've never seen before, and I know that I would likely not be able to pull out of her on my own. The group discussion has been wonderful, and I love especially that Mindy presents literature, allows them to do their research, and also allows them to use the Bible as truth when they're sharing their discussions. So we've had a wonderful experience with her teaching our middle school co-op this year, and that's why I'm so excited to share with you guys from a personal standpoint that Mindy has now created a middle school literature survey that is going to be available online for a spring sampler in April and May, and then she will launch a full program in the fall. So I'm super excited about this. I can say confidently that Bella has just come alive and really learned to love literature, short stories, novels, poetry through Mindy's teaching, and I'm really, really excited to present her curriculum to you guys and open that opportunity up for you guys to join in her online literature survey. So I'm gonna first tell you about her literature survey as a whole, things that she has created, what the full program looks like, and then I'm gonna tell you about her upcoming spring sampler, the special introductory rate that you guys can join it for, and it's only open for a short amount of time, and then it's gonna be closed. So it's going to be a short window of opportunity for you guys to join that spring sampler. So I printed out some information here that I wanted to read because I didn't want to misquote anything. So the way that her literature survey for middle schoolers works, it's simple, it's short, it's gentle, and it can be trusted, and you can trust me on that as well. I trust Mindy. I have known her for 10 years. This is the first time I've ever shared something so personal, I want to say. Just a company that I back just completely, wholeheartedly. I love her. She's an amazing friend. She's an amazing teacher, mother, wonderful teacher, wonderful Christian woman. And I just really appreciate that the Lord has placed her in my life and my children's lives at this time when her gifting can really bless our home, but then also so many other homes as well. It's 5 to 15 minutes, 3 days a week, which is amazing. I know you guys would really appreciate that time commitment. Within 1 year, your child will be introduced to at least 10 literary giants, a half dozen literary movements, dozens of literary terms, writing skills, active reading strategies, discussion strategies, form connections with other kids their age across the country, think critically about big ideas and support those ideas within the text, and share their work with others and receive positive feedback and encouragement. So this is a really neat opportunity because I think that literature is just a subject that discussion really matters, and having that opportunity for discussion is important, and not everybody has a co-op of similar ages that they can get together with and have these literature discussions, especially that can be guided by somebody with so much knowledge and skill and experience in this field. So I really see this as a unique opportunity for the homeschooling world. I think there's a lot of fun stuff for younger ages, but there's not a lot of focus on middle school. And one thing that I didn't tell Mindy I was going to mention, but I will mention now just because she's very humble and she probably wouldn't, wouldn't want me to just dote on her too much, but I can't help but share. Middle school is her passion. And I think that when somebody has a passion, especially for those middle grades, it is a gifting, and it is just such a blessing to parents who have children at that age, because it can be a tough age, but for somebody to see that age, love that age, believe in that age group of children, and want to pour into them, it's amazing. And I have seen Bella just grow so much under her leadership, and you can just tell that that is her gifting, that wonderful age range. And for her to provide this service to the homeschooling world, specifically focused on that age, I haven't found anything like this online or available to the homeschooling world. So everything I just mentioned, all of those literary movements, literary terms, the writing skills, the reading strategies, the discussion strategies, all of that is being fostered within a nurturing Christian environment, and you don't have to monitor or prep any of it. So she will send you once a week the work for the week, and I think she said it was going to be on Saturdays, and then you'll have that week to complete the work, and then every couple of weeks there's an opportunity for a Zoom discussion. Now that is optional but highly recommended. So if you would prefer that your children do not participate in the group games and the group discussions, that is okay, but they will certainly be missing out on a really positive element of this group. And then another thing I wanted to note that it says here on this rubric is that each month you'll receive extension activities to explore further. If your child is interested in a certain literary movement, literary style, or author, the goal is to expose them to lots of small bites of literature so they can pick and choose what they really like if they want to dive in further. She said think of it as a buffet, and I know any of you Charlotte Mason moms out there will really appreciate that term. And I can again say from experience, she's essentially taught this virtual class in person to my daughter and her group of girlfriends this whole year. And I will say it has been like a feast of ideas. It's been amazing. Bella has been exposed to authors and writing styles that I would not have otherwise come across, and her Christmas list was full of books from different authors that I had never considered for her. Her writing has just completely blossomed. Her, just the way that she's been able to think critically about text has been unbelievable. Her discussion has just bloomed from the beginning of this year till now. It has been such a positive experience for her, and I'm super, super excited, if I haven't said it enough already, to know that this is being made available to the homeschooling world. So that's a general overview of what the full program looks like, and I want to share specifically about the spring sampler that she has coming up, because the spring sampler is open right now for enrollment March 20th through March 30th. This is 2022 that I'm filming this. And it is an 8-week sampler that you can try right now. It is for a one-time fee of $29, and that is per family, not per student. When she starts up again in the fall with the full year program, there will be a monthly cost that is very reasonable. It is less than the $29. And that one is also per family, not per student. So if you have 2 middle schoolers, or the general age range is more so like 6th through 9th grade, 11 through 14 or so. If you have multiple students, it is a family cost, not an individual cost. So you'll, have the same access to the printables and everything for all of your children, not just for each individual student, and then they can all hop on to the same Zoom calls and games, etc. So I appreciate that she did it that way and making it a family cost. But the spring sampler, the enrollment is short, and she is closing it right on March 30th. So I wanted to be sure to make you aware that if you're interested in the spring sampler, which I think is going to be a really fun 8 weeks, to be sure to sign up for that, and I'll put all the info in the description box down below. But that is not only is that a fun introduction to what this full program is, but it's also, in my opinion, a way to end the school year on a really positive note. I think this is about the time of year that I start to fall into the routine of just like, okay, independent work, get your math and reading done. And so something really fun coming into the school year at this point in time that is prepped, ready to go, that your kids can be enthusiastic about as we head into summer, I think is super exciting and really good timing. So I'm very excited about the spring sampler. So I just want to go over what it looks like, what the sampler looks like, if you guys want more information. So the 8-week sampler follows the same format as the full program that will begin in the fall. Will follow with 3 5 to 15 minute lessons a week. You'll receive those lessons in your inbox once a week, most often on Saturdays, and it's got all of the pre-recorded videos, PDFs, worksheets, everything your students will need. And then you'll also have access to the weekly discussion or weekly group game as well. So one other thing I want to mention is that not only is Mindy highly educated, like I said, she's got a doctorate in curriculum and instruction, 20 years of experience, homeschooling parent, but again, as I mentioned earlier, she's currently a virtual school teacher. So as far as all of the kinks that need to be worked out with using a virtual program goes, she's really impressed me, and she got all of this to me very quickly, and I was like, this would be so fun. Bella's really gonna love the virtual aspect of this. So the way that the 8 weeks goes, for example, week 1, they're going to be learning about Langston Hughes. They're going to read Thank You, Ma'am, and they're going to go over the idea of theme. And she's going to go in depth, and you'll see in the video that I share at the end here, into what exactly a theme is and how to discover the theme. And your children are going to have the opportunity to share what they think the theme is, and she gives them some instruction on how to discover that, and then there's a group discussion on it in the second week. And then week 2, they're going to do an active reading of it and have a Zoom class discussion. There's also a game, a review game that they can play. I believe that's in week 1. Then week 3, they're gonna do an introduction to dialogue. They're gonna do mentor text. See, all of these are things that I would not have brought into a literature teaching for my child just one-on-one. This is a really unique way to do something as a group without having a group of middle schoolers in your home or in your community. They're gonna have a writing workshop 1 week. They're gonna develop dialogue. There's an author's chair live celebration, which is really fun. Then they're going to move on from Langston Hughes to Poe, and they're going to read Annabelle Lee. And they're gonna have an introduction to poetry, writing workshops on writing a poem. What else is on here? And more mentor text, active reading strategy. So tons of fun, and everything is grouped into these 5 to 15 minute lessons. Mindy's experience and knowledge of middle schoolers means that she knows how to create a short and sweet lesson, knowing their attention span well, but also an exciting one that hooks them from the start. I also could listen to her voice all day long. She is a good friend of mine, and I listen to the way that she speaks to middle schoolers, and I can put myself back in the shoes of middle schooler and know that if I had a teacher who was as kind and loving in her, in just the way that she shares, that I would have been even more enthused to read, to share, to discuss. I would have felt like it was a very safe place for discussion, and I believe that your kids will have the same experience with her. So here's an example of some of the PDFs that they'll receive for week 1. Like I said, the week 1 lesson on Langston Hughes goes over an introduction to him, and then they're reading Thank You Ma'am and learning about theme. They're learning about the Harlem Renaissance. They're going over big literary movements like I mentioned earlier. So here is a sample of the first PDF that you'll receive in your email the first Saturday of the sampler. So every Saturday she'll send you an email. So your students will be able to click and get their first video lesson. When they click the PDF, they're gonna do an author focus on Langston Hughes, a mentor text, Thank You Ma'am. There's gonna be a bio about Langston Hughes. They're gonna learn about the Harlem Renaissance, and then they're going to have an assignment. Now, all of this is in a video lesson that Mindy goes over. I should call her Dr. Schiermeyer. That's her official title, that Dr. Schiermeyer goes over. And she explains everything very well, short and sweet, clear and concise. And so she goes over their assignments. There should be no questions. I've looked at the videos, and I don't think Bella will need any help from me. Mindy is very clear in how she explains the expectations and what's coming up next. So this is an example of the first PDF you'll receive. You'll also receive this theme worksheet. She's gonna do a video lesson on theme, talking about it being a central idea in a work of literature, an easy way to remember the definition of theme, what you need to do to find the theme, what a theme is not, and then some directions filling in the chart for a possible theme for what they're reading. And then week 2, you'll get a PDF that looks like this as well. This is a worksheet that your students will be going over. So this has some directed notes with circling unknown words, underlining things that surprise you, underlining things that you have questions about, and what to mark those things that surprise them and they have questions about with. There's some questions, some thoughts that help prepare them for the discussion, why they think this. It gives them an opportunity to provide evidence from the text, including page numbers, and then their thoughts after the discussion and why they think that. And so, like I mentioned, this is the same way that she has taught in our co-op this whole year. It's just being made available on a virtual platform. And so this has been such an important element to literature for Isabella, just having a discussion, a guided discussion, having some prepared prepared thoughts before discussion, but then also some place to write her thoughts afterward. So those are just some samples and examples of what this sampler is going to look like. Like I mentioned, it is only being made available from March 20th to March 30th. I'm gonna do my best to blast this information out there to you guys. I'm getting it here on YouTube. I'm gonna share it on Instagram. I'm gonna put the link below if you wanna sign up. You guys can ask any questions in the comments down below, and if I don't have an answer for you, I will contact her or leave her contact information for you to ask those questions. But if this group is large enough in the sampler, I'm thinking it might not be opened up to the public in the fall. It may just be from the sampler group. And so if it's something that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend hopping on board the train right now, trying it out, seeing if your kids like it, and what you guys think of it. So this is almost like a backwards sponsorship, because usually a company will reach out to me and ask me to share, and then I will share for them because they've asked me. But this is something that has been so meaningful to me that I actually reached out to her and asked her if she would make this and if I could share it. So it was like a backwards product endorsement. This was me asking a company to share versus a company asking me. But I know you guys trust me. I know that you know that I don't share a lot of things just, what's the phrase? I don't just like, I take it seriously when I bring something to your attention that has my full support and that I back. And this is definitely something and someone that I'm very supportive of. And I just really thought for any other moms of middle schoolers out there that you would appreciate knowing about this opportunity, and that it would be very life-giving and fun and a silver lining in this season of homeschooling your middle schooler. So thank you, Mindy, for giving me all that information to share with everyone. I hope that you guys are excited about it, as excited as I am. All the info is in the description box down below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments down below as well.
10 minutes a day, if that. And in 10 minutes a day, you're going to get exposed to some of the literary giants throughout history. You're going to get exposed to several of the literary movements, and you're going to get introduced to a whole bunch of different literary themes. So starting off with, who was Langston Hughes? Langston Hughes is one of my favorite authors of all time. So as I said earlier, theme is not a summary. It's not the main idea. It's not a topic, and it's not a subject. Many times I see students get confused and think that theme is a subject. So it's one word like love or revenge. A theme is a complete sentence. It's the subject plus what the author wants to say about the subject. When you're finished reading it, you should pick a conflict from that story, the outcome of the conflict, and then write down a possible theme. On your PDF file in front of you, think about these questions. What did Roger learn about greed, about honesty, about forgiveness and love? Your answers to those questions will help you find the theme.